next up, rebuilding the supply chain for the nuclear industry, a big opportunity for businesses throughout our region. Stay with us. 30 years ago, the accident at 3 Mile Island dealt what appeared to be a knockout blow to America's nuclear industry. There wasn't a domestic order for a new power plant for a generation. Well, as a result, the supply chain withered as suppliers went out of business or retooled to meet the needs of new customers. Well, now the game is changing with rising global demand for energy and global concerns about carbon. Big orders for nuclear plants are pouring into our region from Asia and even the United States. It's creating an opportunity for former and would-be suppliers as well. Jack Lanzoni is a vice president of the supply chain for Westinghouse Electric Company, and Jim Drake is general manager of the electromechanical division of Curtiss-Wright in Cheswick, Pennsylvania. Welcome. Good to see both of you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to just start with you, Jim, because you mentioned before we started that it was 20 years ago I actually came out to do a story on Curtiss-Wright, right?
Right.
Back around 1990, a company was doing really well, and then it got a little lean given what happened to some of your customers, right?
Right. Downturn in the nuclear power business being one of them.
Yeah, but turning around now?
Yes, we've grown several hundred people over the last 10 years. And a lot of that is due, or some of it is due to the upturn in the commercial nuclear business.
Just so if people don't know Curtiss-Wright, what exactly do you do here in our region?
We make a bunch of different products for the nuclear navy, pumps, generators, propulsion systems, and we make components and products for Westinghouse for the old nuclear supply systems and for the new AP1000.
Okay, and it is a new nuclear industry in a lot of ways. This is not your father's nuclear power plant, right, Jim?
No, it's totally different now. The basic nuclear technology has not changed significantly, although the safety of the new plants is far superior to the ones that we currently have, although we have an extremely high safety record on the existing plants today. But what has changed dramatically has been the whole concept of how we construct a plant and how we support a plant through the supply chain. And what I mean by that is that we've converted from what we used to call a stick build, which was each individual piece was constructed on the site to finally build the plant, to a modular concept where large portions of the plant are literally pre-built, then transported to the site and assembled on site. And we feel that this will significantly improve the time to operation for the plant and cut the construction costs and the construction time down dramatically.
It really is a whole global supply chain activity now,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely. The concept of supply now is a global concept. We have supply base that has been in place in Asia, particularly in South Korea and Japan, because they've continued to build new plants over the past 30 years. There's a supply base in Europe that was used to support the new plant build in Europe as well. What we're trying to do now is try to develop an equally strong supply base within the U.S. so that we have a philosophy in Westinghouse of buying where we build. And the concept there is to have as much contribution to the local economy and also minimize the time to construction by eliminating risk and transport and the time to transport major pieces of equipment. So it's key to us now to try to develop a strong North American supply base as well.
And so essentially rebuilding what existed 30 years ago, but it sounds like it's a much more sophisticated supply chain you have to rebuild.
Well, I think the demands are significant. As Jim would attest to, the requirements of being a nuclear supplier are quite a bit different and quite a bit more stringent than most commercial applications. And the requirement there is in regards to safety and quality, because in our industry we have to have a philosophy of zero defects and zero mistakes. Okay, so the demands on our supply base to be able to perform to that level is significant.
Clearly, to deliver that kind of quality product, you need really quality people. Have you been able to find the people you need, and are you going to need more as you look ahead?
We're aged workforce, so we have a lot of experience, and we're adding people with experience from the local industry to help us. So we've been successful in adding the people we need.
Yeah, well, as you say, an older workforce is great from an experience standpoint, but in the long run, if there's a lot of growth, it could be hard to keep up with all of this.
Right.
Well, one of the things that we've done well, I think, at Westinghouse is what we call knowledge transfer. There's a lot of people who had retired from the industry or were aging in the industry that have now decided to stay on or even come back. And part of that is generated by the excitement of the opportunity to be building new plants again. So what we're taking advantage of at this time is the ability to take that knowledge that those people had accumulated over those years and set up formal programs where we can get that knowledge transferred to the new workers coming into the industry.
All right. Well, you've teed up our next segment. Jack Lanzoni, Vice President of Supply Chain for Westinghouse. Jim Drake, General Manager of the Electromechanical Division of Curtiss-Wright and Chesapeake. Thank you both so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
And next up, nuclear energy jobs in our region. We're talking more than just physicists and nuclear engineers. Stay with us. A growing number of people are betting their careers on the nuclear renaissance and beating a path to our region, where Westinghouse and a number of supply chain companies are hiring. Some are transplants, others are boomerangs who've had the opportunity to come home. Dr. Kate Jackson is Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer for Westinghouse Electric. Brad Nana is Global Client Director of Nuclear Industry for Eaton Electrical. And Brenda Petrilena moved back 4 years ago to work for Westinghouse as Director of Global Demand Planning. And welcome. Good to see all three of you.
Nice to see you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, well, one of the things we want to do in this segment is really talk about what people do in this industry. So I'm going to ask each of you right out of the gate to just tell us a little bit about kind of what your role is. And Chief Technology Officer for Westinghouse.
So my role is to think about the technologies that Westinghouse needs to solve customer problems in today's plants as they're operating, or tomorrow's plants to make them better, live longer, work better, and then what will we do for the next generation of plants, and how do we solve all kinds of fuel issues and environmental issues.
Wow, when you think about Westinghouse in the nuclear industry, it's that next generation plant that seems to be attracting all the attention around the world.
Well, it's a great plant. It's passive safe, it's smaller, it is modularly constructed, which means you can build it faster and you can address all kinds of safety issues without active safety equipment. So it got many fewer components, so it's environmentally more responsible.
Now, you spent years away working for the Tennessee Valley Authority. Great successful career, terrific organization to work for. Why come home to do this?
Well, in line with the Tennessee Valley Authority, you know, lots of environmental issues, and managing the environment and energy as a combination is really important to me personally, and also to the globe. And so Westinghouse provides that solid base load foundation of energy that is got no emissions, no carbon, no nitrogen dioxide. And so it's a really wonderful opportunity for me, and because it is home. So I do have roots here. When we all decided to move, my family and I made lists of cities we'd like to live in all around the world. Luckily, all four had Pittsburgh on the list. Very good. So began looking in the cities that we all wanted to live in, and you know, this is just a wonderful mix of great endpoints.
Wow, very cool. At the intersection of interests, I love it. Brad, you're in the nuclear supply chain, right? Working for Eaton Electrical?
That is correct. And, you know, Eaton's interest, obviously, is to align ourselves in the nuclear market with a company such as Westinghouse. Eaton, as you know, or many of the people know, we supply electrical products. So how can we help Westinghouse in this great, exciting, emerging market provide new power and protect it with the equipment that you need to put into these power plants with Eaton electrical equipment.
Okay, and you came home to do this too?
I did. You know, it's a reunion of sort. I started with Westinghouse 20 years ago. Then we, through an acquisition, I became an Eaton employee, lived in 8 or 9 different states all on the East Coast, and an opportunity came back to not only reunite myself with Westinghouse, but also to get back to Pittsburgh. So it's a good place to be, and we're excited to be back home.
All right, Brenda, we got another boomerang in you. Now, you came home to work for Westinghouse, too. What do you do exactly?
I am Director of Global Demand Planning, and I'm part of the Supply Chain Management Organization. And what we do, we have a good, solid understanding of the demand for our products in all 4 product lines: nuclear automation, nuclear fuel, nuclear services, nuclear power plants. And we translate that demand into all of the things that we need to purchase, the materials, the resources, resources and balancing that demand with the supply and ensuring that we have all the material, all the resources to meet that demand.
Now, were you looking to come home when the opportunity came up to do this?
I was in the Michigan area working in the automotive industry, and I really chose to come back before we had that dip in the automotive industry to come home. My husband and I are both from here, and Westinghouse was a great fit, easily transferable skills from automotive to nuclear, and coming back home for us.
Wow. Well, for the sake of full disclosure, I started working with Westinghouse at the beginning of my career, too, although it was the TV side, the Group W in the old Westinghouse. And it's been an amazing story to watch this company's resurgence. I do wonder, you're betting your future on the nuclear renaissance and on this industry. Kate, does it give you a pause at all, though, that the federal government hasn't come to grips with the whole waste issue and those kinds of things? Do you really have confidence that this industry has this kind of a future?
Oh, I have confidence. I mean, we need baseload power that can produce very reliable, inexpensive power that is environmentally responsible. So the fact that it's carbon-free, we're going to need a low-carbon economy. And so you need nuclear power as a very fundamental piece of that. And nuclear, the waste issue, albeit socially incredibly complicated, technically it can be solved. And so that waste can be stored very safely. It is stored safely at the 104 units across the United States. The nuclear industry contains and manages all the waste that it produces, and it can be transported safely, and you can reuse that energy from that fuel with some additional technologies once the government makes some policy decisions. And so, you know, it's not significant volumes either. I'll give you one little data point about volume. If all of your lifetime electricity came from nuclear energy, all the used fuel, we call it used fuel because there's still energy in it, all the used fuel would fit in a soda can with room to spare.
What, that a single person could use in a lifetime?
For your lifetime. Yep. So it's not a giant amount. So it can be safely managed and safely stored. And now we can find ways to reuse it with technologies that Westinghouse is investing in.
Well, I love it. That's always been the Westinghouse can-do engineering spirit for sure. Only a few seconds left. I mean, I take it you two are as bullish about the future of this industry and the opportunity for our region.
Yes, absolutely. And I think Kate stated it well. You look at what the demands are, not only U.S. demands in electricity, but global demands. In nuclear, being a carbon-free energy source, I think it is gaining public opinion, and as the plants are being built in China and other parts of the country, other parts of the world, the public opinion is going to increase significantly.
And in fact, the public opinion for the people that live right next to plants is the most positive.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Nuclear plants are very good neighbors.
I agree. And you look at security of supply, diversification of our portfolio, all of those things, definitely nuclear.
All right. Well, these are exciting times for our region for sure. Congratulations.
Great.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Thank you.
Happy to be back.
Welcome home. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be back in a minute with a little dollars and cents. Stay with us.
Regions Business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in us all.
Now it's time for our weekly segment on dollars and cents. We focused in today's program on our region's re-energized leadership in commercial nuclear energy and the jobs and opportunity that are being created here as a result. This is one of a series of programs on the key energy-related industries that are driving our region's economy. A big reason that total employment here has grown by thousands of jobs year over year, despite the lackluster national recovery from the recession. The best part is that the greater Pittsburgh region is home to more than natural resources like coal and natural gas and even nuclear energy expertise. Companies are growing here to supply the solar and wind industries and to help the world get smarter about using energy more efficiently through better grid management and intelligent building technologies. Turns out that our region is a top 25 employer in each of these 7 industries and home to more than $1 billion a year of energy-related research through university, corporate, and government labs. Watch for upcoming programs that will together tell the story of our region's emergence as a leading center of energy-related solutions. For today, we're out of time, so for the staff of our region's business and for the Allegheny Conference, I'm Bill Flanagan. Thanks for joining us, and have a profitable week ahead.